Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Super Deluxe Gamescast. It's Thursday, October. I almost said September, but it's October now. October 7th.
It is a different
happy
month, John.
It is a different month, I know. And speaking of the month of October, happy Metroid Dread Eve, everyone.
Swoled Eve.
Happy Swoled Eve. Guys, I'm so fucking excited for tomorrow. I have been waiting literally 19 years, just like everybody else, just like every other Metroid fan, for the fucking continuation and apparent end of this story arc.
I was 11 when Fusion came out, and I beat it, and I was waiting for the next one. I'm just going to point that out. I'm 30
how old are you now? You're 30. Yeah,
When did
that's how
Fusion
math
come
works.
out?
2002.
2002, alongside Prime.
I was
How old were you?
5 years
CJ?
old.
5
years
Jesus
old.
Man,
fucking Christ.
we haven't had. I honestly think that might be one of just the best days of my life. Like, no joke. Like, Metroid Prime and Metroid Fusion came out on the same day.
Two flawless, immaculate Metroid games.
And man, I do love 2D Metroid, but Metroid Prime blew my goddamn mind. Like, that game's still like a top 3 of all time game for me. So like that was
Prime's the only Metroid game I genuinely love.
I remember I still remember my grandma took me to GameStop to pick up my pre-order for Prime, and I remember like I was so excited for that game. I literally had planned out how I was going to hand them the rest of the money needed to pay for it so that it would take them the least amount of time to make change, so I could get back home and save precious seconds, because my mom didn't like me playing games at night. So I had to get home and get my time in before mom got home from work after grandma got me off the bus.
So what I'll say is this: like, I needed this to be good. I didn't even need this to be good. I needed it to be great. And people are calling it the best, either among the best 2D Metroids, the best 2D Metroid, or among the best Metroid games. Period. Like, it's right up there with Zero Mission for almost everyone I've talked to, or Super Metroid. And I couldn't fucking be happier. Like, I desperately needed this to be good, and oh my god, I'm so fucking excited. I would normally play it at midnight tonight, but I'm waiting for that fucking Swoled to be in my hands tomorrow, before I fire that bad boy up. Derek, you're actually doing a stream tomorrow night, right?
Yes, as soon as I got off work, I'm coming home. I'm gonna do what I've got to do to get set up, and I'm gonna start us a stream. So,
I can't wait.
We'll announce the specific time once I get home, and we know that for sure. But
I'm gonna be playing Metroid Dread and listening to you stream Metroid Dread.
I will stream those opening hours.
I'm gonna wear a Metroid shirt. I'm gonna wear my Metroid. Look at this. I got my Metroid beanie.
Yeah.
Ready to go. I'm fucking ready to roll with this shit.
I have a Metroid shirt, but it's way too tight. I've picked up a lot of weight since high school, so
I have a Yeti Metroid shirt. They do good fucking work, man.
I was actually cleaning out some old stuff, and I found my old early 2000s Hot Topic NES Metroid box art t-shirt. Definitely can't wear that anymore, but I laughed when I saw it.
All right, so we've got a lot to talk about tonight. There are a lot of things happening right now. A couple of one heavy topic, one fun speculative topic, and this is where we would normally talk about what we've been playing. But we're going to switch Derek. We've got a kind of a format switch going forward with this.
Yeah,
do you want to explain that?
So not all of us are getting to play games every week. I've already been stretching it a bit by talking about what Martha's been playing instead of me. Sometimes it's less what we've been playing and it's what we've been reviewing or what we just last reviewed. Sometimes we played a lot of games. Sometimes we want to talk about something that has happened with a game that we love. So I'm kind of think we're gonna kind of tool the what we've been playing segment into everyone's game of the week, so to speak, that they want to discuss. It's not the best game of the week. It's not whatever. It's just the game they want to discuss. Whether that's something they've been playing, something they reviewed for here or another outlet, something that is on their mind because of recent news. It's a chance for every person to kind of spotlight some game that's at the forefront of their mind this week. So same basic idea and concept, just a little bit broader in its reach. And that way we can maybe talk about a few more news topics effectively in a fairly tight newscast where you can only fit 3 blocks usually. So Beer.
All right. Who wants to go first? I don't want to go first. Not me. I usually tend to go first sometimes, and I don't want to do that today. So who wants to roll first? Derek? Jeff?
I can go.
Go, man. Go. Take it.
So, I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy IV because I beat the Pixel remaster this week. I have not had the ability to make much like leeway into it. It's been a very slow process, but by the time I was done with it, it was funny. I had like 12 hours in it. Like, it's not a very long game, and it's weird to remember how short some of these early JRPGs are. But going back to, I know, of course, Final Fantasy talk has to come so
I love
early.
it. You know me, dude. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, same, man.
Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy IV is a game that I'm historically actually kind of down on in the franchise, but revisiting it for the first time in a very long time, there's a simplicity and a straightforwardness to it that I really appreciate, and I wonder if I'm going to miss that when I move to 5 with its extreme flexibility and your ability to build characters that don't fucking work. So, that's the problem with games that are that open-ended is sometimes you don't have the ability to actually make a good character because you don't understand how character building works. And that's not a problem in 4 because everybody's good at their thing, and that's what matters. So yeah. 4 is good. And Jeff, if you're drinking Buffalo Trace is still solid.
Okay, yeah, that's the one. Sorry, I just remember the Buffalo. Yeah,
Buffalo Trace actually makes my personal favorite bourbon, which is Eagle Rare.
Eagle Rare is good shit, dude.
Eagle Rare's pretty much the best bottle you can get for its price point. So
yeah, like it's a $30 bottle, and for $30, dude, you're getting
probably
some
a lot more
fucking
expensive up in Canada because you got to ship it from Kentucky.
I'm sorry,
everything is.
I'm so. What just happened with our conversation? I have no idea what we're talking about.
Sorry, Jeff mentioned in the chat that he was drinking the cheapest bourbon he could find, Buffalo something, and I was like, "Oh, it's Buffalo Trace. That's good. Yeah, that's a great low-cost bourbon."
I was very lost.
Yeah,
for a second there.
See, Jeff needs to come here for Extra Life solely because I need to give him some of that quality shit I got right here. Like, Jeff, when you're coming here one day, and when you do, I've got some Yamazaki. I got some fucking Hibiki for you.
This means nothing to me, but sure, I'll drink it.
I've got the good fucking Japanese whiskeys here, dude.
Their names I can't pronounce. They got to be great.
Speaking of Jeff and speaking of great, why don't you go next?
Okay. I'm not good at taking compliments, so I'll pretend you're talking about a great game I've been playing. And we're gonna talk about Death Stranding again. I talked about it last week, but I've finished it, and I didn't really I don't feel like I said anything about it last week other than I'm enjoying it, but I didn't really get to talk about why I'm liking it so much. And I think I was still early on and I hadn't really figured it all out. But I totally get this game now, and it's I think the main reason I love it is because I'm just so fucking bored of like capital V video games and what video games are, especially because like I admit I'm a little shallow. I lean more towards AAA experiences just because I'm like super into like really polished presentation and really heavy narratives. And I'm sorry, I get more wrapped up in a story when it's told with convincing graphics and 3D camera angles and stuff like that. Like the way it's framed and shot and stuff is just more like a movie. And it just, I don't know, personally that gets me more emotionally involved, which is a big reason why I play games. And I just, no disrespect to stuff like pixel art and 2D, but I don't have that same emotional response to it typically, with the exception of Night in the Woods, because shout out to Night in the Woods, that game fucking rules.
I've never played that, Jeff.
What the fuck, John?
Fantastic. It's so good. And it's not normally my kind of game, but I loved every second of it. But
that's exactly why I played it.
Like Death Stranding, it is like, I want to be clear, it's not without its flaws. For a game that's like so non-combat focused, there's some forced combat stuff, especially late in the game, that I knew it was coming and it didn't surprise me and it didn't ruin the experience. But it's like, I wish they had a little bit more bravery just to like not really force any of that stuff. But I get it. It's still kind of an action game. But it's so unique in the AAA space to have a game like with its production values. And I get why people fucking hate it because, man, it's just, you're just loading up a bunch of boxes and you're just driving them 20, 30 minutes to somewhere else on the map, and there's nothing in between. There's no like NPCs, there's no towns.
That would drive me fucking crazy,
There's
Jeff.
no question marks on the maps. There's not a single thing to find. Like, the only thing there is other player structures. There's not a single like developer created thing out there. It's just literally these pre-designated little like outposts and stuff that you take your deliveries from, and that's it. And it's just the landscape. And I get why like people who are looking for like everything, like all this stuff crammed into a game like a Ubisoft stuff, I get why it's not there, but it's so refreshing and so straightforward. It's like, no, you're gonna go to this one spot and you're gonna pick up like these fucking 50 boxes, and it's gonna make you move so fucking slow, and it's gonna take you an hour to walk up this mountain, and there's just nothing. It's just background, like, you know, the sound of the wind and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think I'm really into this kind of semi-mundane tasks in video games. I find it really soothing and relaxing and stress-free rather than like shooting a bunch of stuff in Doom. So I really appreciate that. And like I said, indie games can more often get away with this, but I think AAA games have an expectation to deliver that big E3 set piece and stuff like that constantly. And I don't know, Death Stranding is not like that at all. And I've never played anything like it. I don't know. I don't think I will, because it sounds like Sony didn't really like that Kojima took that much money and made an Amazon courier simulator. But I hope something else like this gets made again, because I just fucking loved it. And the narrative is simultaneously weirder than you'd think from the trailers, and yet simpler when you boil it down, when you strip away a lot of the imagery and stuff like that. It's actually, I don't know, I really connected personally with the story. And yeah, I fucking love it. I'd say if anyone is looking for like something different from what you normally play in a big polished like first party release, or if you're tired of like I guess you might say it's a sad man simulator, not necessarily a sad dad simulator, but it's really unique, and I'd recommend people try it out if they think that it's going to be their jam. But yeah.
So if I described Death Stranding as like SnowRunner with the aesthetics of a Tool music video, how close to the mark am I?
I haven't played SnowRunner, but I know enough about it that you're almost bang on, because literally while I was playing Death Stranding, while I was climbing up a mountain, I was like, yo, I should fucking play SnowRunner, because I remember Zach and Maddie talking about it.
You guys ever seen like Sorcerer?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so so it's basically that, just on like if Kojima basically watched Sorcerer, and he took some DMT, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna
he listened to a lot of Low Roar at the same time.
Low Roar, Churches, Khalid.
I went down the rabbit hole of like some of the songs in the game, and the director's cut has a new version of a song called Fragile, which is like one of the main characters' names. But it's an orchestrated version of a song from an album from 2014, before Death Stranding was even announced. And it's an album by Midge Ur. But the album, like the tracks on the album, are named Bridges, Fragile, Connected, and it's like Kojima like straight up fucking saw this album and was like,
he just
took notes.
Ate like a fat fucking edible and listened to that album and was like, this, but a game.
Like, did you remember the opening to Phantom Pain with that cover of Man Who Sold the World by Midge Ur?
Yeah. Same artist. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's still got its Kojima stuff. I'm mad he was so fucking close. And then there's a rain and underwear scene, and I'm like, motherfucker. It's not as bad as the quiet scene from 5. It's definitely not as bad.
Nothing will be that bad.
It's still like, I was like, dude, you're so close. But I mean, like I said, it's definitely still got its flaws and missteps, and it's far from a masterpiece. But I always appreciate a game that swings really big and doesn't totally stick it, versus there's a lot of talk recently about Ubisoft games, right? And I'll take a really messy game over something that's just super boring. So
I'll go ahead and I'll go next real quick. So I have not played anything on my Switch in like a week, because I don't want to touch my fucking Switch I don't want to touch a Switch until I get that swole tomorrow.
It's not even turning his lights on and off.
I don't want to fucking look at a Switch.
Spit at it like.
I look at my vanilla Switch now with like utter fucking contempt. Like, you piece of shit. Fuck you. Like, I don't want to touch it. Don't want to touch it. Want nothing to do with it. So
Just picture Nikki walking into a room and John's just laying into his Switch in the corner.
You're just a disappointment to me.
I'm talking to it like my
talking
father
to me?
used to talk to me. Like, and so what I've been doing is filling the time replaying some of my favorite Sega Saturn games, because the Saturn is a fucking underrated system. I've been playing Dragonforce, which is a beautiful pixel-based strategy game.
That game rules. Yeah,
dude, Dragonforce is fucking awesome. Like
that's like I think that's the only Saturn game I've ever played.
And dude, at the time, Dragonforce has over 100 characters. Like, it's these huge, large-scale battles. And there's over 100 characters, well over 100 characters on screen at any given time. And you're sitting there like you're a general, essentially commanding your army. It's a gorgeous fucking game. It's a working designs game. So the same publisher behind titles like Lunar and they published the Arc the Lad collection. Dragonforce is a fucking awesome game. And I've also been replaying Panzer Dragoon Saga, which is essentially like going back and replaying it. Like, it's not only is it one of the greatest RPGs of all time, but like going back and replaying it, I haven't played it in a long time. It makes me wonder what would have been if Sega had just marketed the Saturn better, because this was really meant to be the Sega's Final Fantasy VII, right? That game that was going to launch their console into the mainstream, launch a particular franchise into the mainstream, and Panzer Dragoon Saga was supposed to be it, but it came out so close to the end of the console's life cycle, and of course, they didn't release many copies, and now it costs $3,000 to $5,000 for a copy on
that.
How many were produced? Isn't it like a few hundred copies of the game or something like that?
I think it was more than that, but it wasn't a lot.
It's like,
imagine the world that we would live in if Sega was still a console manufacturer, and how much better
it would be an awesome world, to be honest with you.
The skin would be clearer.
Dude, yeah, Sega made great fucking consoles. And just playing through Panzer Dragoon Saga just makes me, I love the fucking game, but it also makes me sad because this game just never got the fucking widespread audience it deserved. And I would love a re-release or a remaster or something, but there are a lot of rumors going around that they actually lost the code for the game. Especially, and it's something that people, this is the last thing I'll say, something that people don't know about the development of Panzer Dragoon Saga is that the development was so strenuous on the team that 2 people fucking died due to stress making this fucking game.
Christ.
That's you can look that up. That's a fact.
Pardon?
Yeah.
It's kind of sad that it seems like things don't really change in this industry sometimes. Like, these aren't new problems.
It's kind
of hard, doesn't it? Considering all the shit going around today about crunch. Yeah. Difficult to make that game that 2 people fucking died.
The Wii U was a giant VMU.
He's not wrong.
Am I wrong?
No,
he's not.
Nintendo was just like, what if this, but like 5 times bigger, and it was the whole console.
Nintendo does, but Sega won't anymore.
and CJ, why don't you go ahead, bud, and then we'll shift over to Justin.
What about Sega? I got a game for you guys.
This is what I've been fucking waiting for.
Yeah, here we go.
No. First of all, fuck Far Cry 6. Fuck that Nickelodeon fighting game that I'm also reviewing. I haven't started the Life is Strange DLC yet, so I can't say anything yet. You know what game I've been reviewing? Guys?
What game have you been reviewing, CJ?
I've been reviewing Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania.
That's
baby.
my boy.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Man, 6-year-old me is thriving right now. Getting drunk, playing Monkey Target by myself, listening to Bad Bunny, singing about eating ass. Straight up, this is the absolute zenith of my being right now. I
understand you better now.
Oh my god, this is it. I could die happy now. This is all I've wanted. Straight up. This game's great. I got a review code for like the deluxe version, so it comes with all the DLC. Specifically, the two that really mattered to me was the original soundtrack. Like the menu music is the exact same exactly the same as I remembered it. That music that would play whenever you would go through the menus. And two, the original designs for the characters. So they have that really weird, awkward early 2000s like rendering that I love so much. They all look shiny for some reason, like they're made of fucking plastic. Absolutely beautiful. So I've been playing through Super Monkey Ball 2 story. They changed up the cutscenes, so now they like the framing devices. It's like in the TV, so they no longer have those really cheesy cutscenes.
Can I ask CJ, because the series is new to me? There's a story. Like, what is the story in Super Monkey Ball look like?
Holy shit! The Super Monkey Ball 2 has this really bizarre story. So you play as this monkey named Ai. And you have to defeat this fucking evil baboon called Dr. Badboon. And dude.
Dr. Badboon, I like it. Go ahead.
Okay,
I like
there's nothing to the game except going through these levels, right? They're kind of like mazes, these like physics-based. It's like, think of Marble Mania, that kind of thing, where you're not moving the character, you're moving the actual stage. So the purpose is to get to the end within the time limit, right? There's, so you have to essentially, in a short time, you have to figure out what's the best way to get to the end without falling out or reaching the time limit. So some levels will have like a few gaps in between that you can have to maneuver. Others will have a button that you press to make certain parts of the stage go faster or slower. And yeah, the story is completely not like I didn't pay attention to it when I was younger. I'm not paying attention to it now. They removed all
you're ignoring the deep fucking Super Monkey
Ball. The lore. No, man, because they removed all the dialogue from the original version. So I'm like, man, fuck this shit. I'm skipping this shit. I hated the story when I was younger. And
you're a monkey in a ball. What else do you need to know?
That's all I need. That's it. Gorilla in a fucking coop. You're a monkey in a ball. Anyway, it's great. It's exactly what I wanted. It is basically Monkey Ball 2. It's all the levels from Monkey Ball 1, the story mode from Monkey Ball 2. Not every minigame made it, but that's fine. Monkey Race, Monkey Target, Monkey Fight, all there.
Monkey
intact.
Target's there, and that's what matters.
Monkey Target is the one that matters.
That is the one that I used to play with my dad all the time. Anyway, this game's great. The DLC characters are great. Like, not the DLC ones, because I haven't bought those because I have to buy Hello Kitty separately, which made me sad. But the guest characters, Kiryu from Yakuza, whatever his name is from Jet Set Radio, Sonic and Tails. 3 different Sega consoles you can play as in a ball, which is absolutely. So speaking of, you can play as the Saturn, the Dreamcast, or the Game Gear. Beautiful, absolutely. I love this game. It's my second favorite game of the year, only because if I put it above Life is Strange: True Colors, I think I'll lose all sort of credibility.
I would support you, CJ.
You would support you.
Yeah.
No, but this game's great. I've been playing it for hours. This weekend, Christine's coming by. She's never touched the series. I can't wait to indoctrinate her.
Indoctrinate her. That's exactly the word I was going to use.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be great. I absolutely love this game. It's all I've been doing for the past week. Now that I finished my Far Cry review on Monday, and I'm like, all right, I got a few days to kill before I really should start the Life is Strange DLC. What am I doing? Monkey Ball, baby.
That's what I'm fucking talking about, CJ. See, that right there, and Jeff finding his footing with games really makes me happy. Both those things really make me fucking happy.
I'm back.
It's the autumn of
CJ.
You guys are going to see the exact same fucking thing tomorrow when I'm playing Metroid for the first, like a new 2D Metroid for the first time in 19 years. Just want to say it again. Justin, go ahead, bud. We'll roll up with you, and then before we launch into our first topic, we got some breaking news that we do need to mention.
Okay, so I have a few things I actually want to get to. I'm going to go through them real quick. First off, I got to check out Alan Wake Remastered. I had never played Alan Wake before. I'm familiar of the stuff that's like connected with Control. I think it's okay to say that at this point. They have not been hiding that because Alan Wake and Control are connected in various ways. So it's been really cool to play it kind of from the perspective as somebody that's familiar with Control and not so much Alan Wake. Because I know some like Alan Wake fans are not happy about the ways that they connect. But for me, you can kind of see where so much of like various elements of control were starting to be thought about in Alan Wake, and like thinking about it from that perspective is super, super cool. I really like the story. The writing is really great.
You talking about the music?
Oh, the music is okay. So the game is divided up into episodes like a TV show, and at the end of each one, it drops a licensed song, and there's no credits or anything. It literally just says end of like episode 1, and then just plays the whole song. And I have just sat there like vibing to the song each time. It's great.
Nick Cave in a fucking video game, man.
It's very Stephen King / Twin Peaks influenced, blatantly. They literally mention Stephen King by name within the first couple, like 2 minutes of the game. But I'm really enjoying it. The combat is still not good at all. It has been there's a lot of getting beaten up by guys in flannel that spawned behind you in the woods. But
that's just being in Kentucky. I don't know what you're talking about.
I was gonna say that just sounds like the Canadians are out to get you.
Alan Wake and the War on Flannel.
You insulted an indie folk album in Seattle.
What do you mean you don't like Mumford and Sons?
But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying what I've played of it. I haven't gotten too far into it because I've been, busy with work, and there's been a few other things I wanted to play, but I'm really excited to get into the rest of it. I'm really glad this got a remaster because, like I said, I never got the chance to play it before. And so I haven't played the original, so I can't really compare directly. But so far with how it is on PS5, I'm very happy with it. It unfortunately doesn't support HDR, which is the thing that annoyed me with Control as well, especially since Alan Wake is so like tailor-made to support that. But like it seems decently high res. Like they're using the highest resolution volumetric stuff that I've ever seen. I'm so used to that stuff being like very pixelated, like when you stand in front of a light and it's like really sharp, and it works really well for Alan Wake. And so I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to getting back into that. But I also played a couple other things, and these are kind of exciting because it's kind of the closest things that we can do to preview coverage. I got to play I played the Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise second demo.
Yeah.
And so
Ghost.jpg.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna start with the good because I think the core gameplay and the combat in particular is genuinely very fun. I actually, and also it's a game that's very heavily influenced by the Souls style of combat, but it has difficulty levels.
I feel like Justin, can I cut in? I got more Neo vibes from it than I did anything else.
Well, I mean, it's from the team that made Neo, but like
Coke
to
and
me,
Pepsi,
that's
man. Like
to me that's a distinction that doesn't matter. But it's from the team that made Neo, so like I played it on the story difficulty. There's actually a casual story difficulty, which is even lower, that you can turn on, which has even more assists and stuff. But I played it on the like story difficulty, and like it is pretty difficult on the action, and especially the hard difficulty. The hard difficulty is extremely difficult. You need to learn the mechanics pretty deep to do that.
You need to be an elite gamer.
But like, I think it's really cool because it scales well across a lot of different difficulties, which I know fans of this genre will probably be happy for. And the fact that it's a Final Fantasy game means probably people that aren't as familiar with that style of game can, jump in and enjoy it. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Now there's a butt coming. Everything else about this game is in such bad shape. I have no idea how this is supposed to be releasing in March. Somehow the image quality and performance has gotten worse since the first demo, and it was already shockingly bad in the first demo. I'm playing this on PS5. I played it in the performance mode. The frame rate was just all over the place. I don't think it got up past like maybe the mid 40s. This is supposed to be a mode that's targeting 60 FPS.
Yeah.
It doesn't get anywhere near that. It looks like a low budget PS3 game.
It doesn't look great.
Like the image is just constantly crawling, dithered, distracting.
Justin, I can smell the 6 out of 10s all over this.
Oh my god!
Justin, I think this was an aesthetic and design choice because this is a Limp Bizkit aesthetic. Limp Bizkit is not about 4K.
I mean,
DLSS.
this game looks like it's running on Unreal Engine 3.
I hate to say it, if you told me to make a Final Fantasy 1 based action game when I was in middle school, this is what I would have come up with.
And if you would have told me to make a Final Fantasy 1 based action game last week, this would have been what I came up with.
I just want like when you finally kill Chaos, when Jack finally kills Chaos.
That cutscene. Like
no, hold on, Justin. When he finally kills Chaos at the end, I want to see all the heroes gathered around, like talking, like, that standard Final Fantasy "we saved the world" bullshit. And Jack is off in the corner, and he just goes "fuck this" and turns around, and you start it plays "I Stand Alone" by Godsmack. Like that's what the fuck I want. That's what I want to have
nominate
happen.
myself to review this game.
I hope this game unironically has a character incorporate the phrase Final Fantasy into a line of dialogue.
This really is our Final Fantasy.
Yeah, some shit like that. That's the level of where this game exists.
Like they're on their way to kill Chaos. They're on an airship and they're about to dive into the fucking. They're about to.
Don't
dive
say it
into the
again,
Chaos
John.
temple.
I can't handle it.
And like Princess Sarah just says, this really is our Final Fantasy.
So I mean,
I'm admittedly, I'll let Justin finish. I just want to say real quick before we move on, I'm admittedly out of the loop on this game, but everything you guys just said, it reminds me of this clip from, I think it was one of the CW shows, Titans or whatever, and they had like Robin just Batman. Like fuck Batman. Like that just sounds like this game watched that show and was like, yeah, we're gonna do that, but with Final Fantasy.
That pretty much sums it up. But yeah, like. And so, like, I mentioned that, too, because, like, this game's coming out on PS4 and Xbox One, and I'm playing the PS5 version, and it's in that bad a shape. I don't know how this game's going to run on the other systems. Like, if it can't run on a PS5. So I'm very worried on that front, which is also a shame because, like, Team Ninja has done the Neo remasters, and that had 3 modes that were actually all pretty good. There was one that was, like, a native 4K mode. There was one that was very focused on 60 FPS, and there was even a 120 FPS mode. And so, like, it's disheartening to see them be really struggling on that front. So yeah, that game, if they can get it together, I mean, let's face it, story, characters, writing, voice acting, none of that is going to be changing. You better just be along for the ride on that front. But I
want Square to call me so I can consult on the soundtrack. I really do. I
honestly think if they can get like the performance down, this will at least be an entertaining game to go through.
I mean, if that cutscene is any indication, it's going to be entertaining as fuck, to be perfect.
I mean, I wasn't, no matter how many times I had watched it beforehand, which, by the way, was a lot, seeing it actually playing the game and seeing it play out, like...
I don't want that shit to be ironic. I want it to be real. Like, I want Jack to be fucking earnest in that shit.
How did we get sponsored by Square Enix?
No, this is the closest we're going to get to a Shadow the Hedgehog sequel, and I'm so happy. Everything about it's perfect. It is absolutely
it 100% is.
Derek, we are sponsored by Square Enix, but that doesn't mean that we can't tell the truth.
That's
I mean,
true.
I said I think the game's fun.
Between this and Abandon, we're gonna get 2 awesome Game of the Year contenders for 2022.
And then another thing I want to talk about real quick is I've been playing the early access for the Battlefield 2042 beta.
I haven't heard great things.
So it's weird because I almost feel like I'm playing a different game from everybody else. Like a lot of things people are really complaining about are things I haven't encountered at all, which is kind of not unexpected given how dynamic Battlefield is. But I also just want to say that I'm very happy that first off, EA Play was only there was a trial for $1, so that got me in early. So I didn't have to pre-order or anything. I just had to give EA $1, and that got me in a couple days early. So been playing it. I'm really enjoying it. It's not super polished, as is kind of expected from DICE's betas. I have played every single beta they have released since Bad Company 2. I knew what I was getting into. This does not crash like some of them have. But, you know, it's not in a super polished state. They say this is a couple-month-old build of the game. So we'll see. But in general, I mean, there's some design choices I don't like. They kind of... you can kind of customize your character however you want, which kind of breaks down some of the team play stuff between the classes and stuff. But overall, just the amount of fun I've been having is awesome. I haven't been able to just kind of chill and relax with a multiplayer game in a long time. And like that's something I've really been looking forward to, and something that I'm really glad this game's delivering, because so many multiplayer games now are focused on, like, you have to be heavily invested in like what the meta is. You have to know all these certain stats and strategies. Like you have to be ready to play hard because they're so focused on like super competitive stuff. And this is just, you're on an island. There's 128 players. There's a rocket that takes off sometimes, and sometimes it explodes. Sometimes a giant tornado that's spitting out lightning rips through the map and tears it apart.
As one does.
So like sometimes you'll be like, you know, one thing that happened to me in the very first game I played is there was a helicopter shooting at me, so I sprinted into a building. Chunks of the building are coming off, but the frame of the building holds, so I thought I was safe. However, the explosions from the helicopter shooting set off the fire suppression systems in the building. So all of a sudden, like, all this coolant comes down and starts like freezing my character, and I have to bail out. And like stuff for that is just so much fun. Like there's definitely a lot of things that need to be addressed. I don't think this is going to be a super smooth launch. If you're familiar with with this series, that shouldn't surprise you. However, I don't think it's going to be straight up broken like Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 4 were at launch. Some of the things so far, like, you know, several things that those betas had that carried over into the final game just are not present already, which I think is a good sign. And knowing what I know, DICE is usually good about fixing between when it does its betas and launch. I do think it's going to be considerably better than what this beta is. I do think there's some design changes that they probably can't adjust fast enough, but to me, that's not a huge issue. I'm looking forward to the game. I'm excited.
I say this with no ulterior motives. How do you think the critical reception will be? Do you think like it's gonna score well, kind of despite these issues? Are they gonna be able to patch it up, or do you see it kind of getting raked over the coals a bit because of this? So
it's really hard to tell because there's three components. Like Battlefield 2042 is kind of divided into three components. There's the all-out warfare mode, which is the 128 player maps. There's the portal, which allows you to customize and has stuff from the older Battlefield games. And then there's Hazard Zone, which is a PvE mode that hasn't actually been announced yet, even though it's supposed to be there and this game's out in a month. Which the stuff that people have data mined about that has sounded awesome. Like, so I think, and I've only played Conquest on one map. And so it's tough to tell because some of the stuff that they're not letting us touch ahead of time, like Battlefield Portal in particular, I think could be an absolutely incredible feature if people really embrace it and create some cool user-created stuff for it. So it's really tough to say. Honestly, I don't think it would review super high. Like if it was just based off of what I'm playing with Conquest, I think it's a fun game. And it doesn't feel like it it doesn't feel like it's something that's going to need a ton of work, as much work as like some of the other Battlefield games have in the past to get it into a good state. But there's just a huge question mark over a couple modes that I think could make a huge difference. So I don't know.
And so we're getting a little long in the tooth here, so we do need to move on to our first big topic here. But Justin, thank you for that, dude. Seriously, appreciate that, man. So let me. Oh, and real quick, I did mention that there was some breaking news that we needed to. We're not going to discuss this. Just want to say that
Breaking.
throw that it's out there. The governor of California has signed the Silenced No More Act tonight.
Oh.
And this is from The Verge.
This is a thing that wasn't passed by any of us. Got it.
Yeah, a historic piece of legislation authored by State Senator Connie Levia that should protect workers who speak out against harassment and discrimination, even if they've signed a non-disclosure agreement.
So this is kind of related. For a brief moment, I went, "Okay, John, this is not as much as we are politics." Thing?
So I'm sorry.
Thing, yeah.
Can you say what that was again? Because I don't even know what we're talking about. I don't have anything.
Right,
yeah, John went wild card on us. So
no, I mean this just happened. So so the governor of California signed the Silence No More Act, which will protect workers who speak out against harassment and discrimination, regardless of whether or not they signed a non-disclosure agreement.
Oh, okay, cool.
And this is incredibly relevant. I mean,
that could have a lot of impacts on the game industry, honestly.
Right. Well, not just the gaming industry, but the tech industry in general.
Right. But we're a gaming podcast. So.
But of course, like this is coming in the wake of the Activision Blizzard revelations.
Probably got more to do with the Facebook stuff going on right now, but
and Tesla.
I mean, it will help with stuff like Activision and Blizzard. So
so this was actually passed in the Senate in August. So I don't think this is the Facebook thing.
Oh, okay.
So because I'm just the reason I know that is because I'm looking at the bill information on the on California.gov right now.
As John does.
You know me.
As we all do on a Thursday evening.
Absolutely. You know, this I want to be accurate in what I'm saying. But that's pretty cool. Big news, and that's something that we can talk about later. But we do have two.
Sorry, that? John. I before we jump into our two big topics, but I think this is good, just on the topic of kind of workplace protections and stuff like that, and improving conditions for workers. I think Justin wanted to mention one quick thing before we move on as well.
Yes. So this is a quick thing, but we've heard we talk about it a lot on the show, crunch, stuff like that in regards to the game industry. But IDOS Montreal, developers of Guardians of the Galaxy, which is coming out in a few weeks. They also did the Deus Ex games, studio that's been around for quite a long time. They have announced that they are moving to a 4-day work week. And they then clarified that it is 32 hours at the same pay rate. It is not like longer days, but 4 days a week. It is actually just 4 8-hour days. And they are one of the first, I think they are probably the first AAA developer to make this change. Which is huge.
Yeah, you've cut a fifth of their work week out with no change in salary. That's huge.
Yeah. And like a few indie teams have done this, like Young Horses, the team behind Bugsnax and Octodad. But yeah, no, this is really good news, and so I really hope more developers follow their suit. Also this week, like Arnie Meyer got promoted to vice president of Naughty Dog, and he has been their communications and social media person for a very long time. But he has been promoted to vice president, and his statement about his promotion was very heavily centered on he is working on both short and long-term projects to improve developer well-being, workplace quality, stuff like that, which is something Naughty Dog has needed for a while. So it's good to see some of these changes are finally starting to be made. We're not just getting negative news, so hopefully progress keeps going.
All right, and with that, we got a couple of big topics to launch into tonight, and the first one is separating problematic creators from their creations. And the reason we're talking about this is because this morning we learned that Koichi Sugiyama had passed away. Now, he was the longtime composer of Dragon Quest, and one of the pioneers of not just video game music or not just video game music, but also like video game music being taken seriously and being turned into like a big deal, and giving rise to individuals like Nobuo Uematsu and Hamauzu, and that's all great, right? But Koichi Sugiyama was also just a fucking abominable human being who wanted literally a return to Imperial Japan, was a big denier of the Nanjing massacre during World War II, referred to Korean sex slaves, which were called comfort women by the Imperial Japanese Army, as happy-go-lucky prostitutes, and also was a massive homophobe. Did not believe that members of the LGBTQ community were people. Didn't believe they should have rights. Didn't believe that Didn't believe that anything regarding LGBTQ should be taught in schools. No, he wanted to completely unperson them. Now, he was a terrible person.
I'm doing everything in my power not to play the Crab Rave song right now.
I know, man.
I had it ready, but I'm not going to do it. So here,
yeah, no, Derek, go ahead.
Yeah, I is the multiple letters in the whole LGBTQ thing. Here's the thing about Sugiyama. Unfortunately, so much about what makes him shitty as a human being is not really all that unique or special, unfortunately. How old was Sugiyama again?
90.
90?
He was fucking
Like
old. He was
1,000.
ancient. He was like a fucking mummy.
No.
You're going to struggle to find a lot of 90-year-olds who are not huge homophobes and transphobes. I just hate to break that to you. I mean, most of y'all's meemaws and papas, probably
Cancel your
not.
fucking racist and homophobic.
I'm just saying that
What I will say though,
this is not me. I'm not trying to diminish Sugiyama being awful. I kind of want to put it in perspective that like Sugiyama's awful in the way a lot of 90-year-olds are, unfortunately, because the beliefs of the time. And Sugiyama's awful in terms of a lot of his views about like Japanese war crimes in the way most average Japanese conservatives are. Right? Prime Minister Shinzo Abe denies those war crimes.
It reminds me of like when we hear about all these like famous historical figures that have statues and shit, and then it comes out that they were like, it's like, no, man, like you give me a name from someone from the 1850s, for sure they were super fucking racist.
But I think like
For sure.
the issue here is that like Sugiyama's beliefs were controversial in Japan for decades, right? Like,
no, not really. That's actually what I'm trying to get into. It's actually pretty it is, especially for the time that he grew up, actually so much more unusual to acknowledge things like the practices of the use of comfort women and a lot of the war crimes that Japan committed. The Japanese government, to this day, most students learn in schools an alternative history where Japan did not commit those acts. Like, this is stuff I've read quite a bit about because side note, I'm producing a podcast called Castle Bravo about Godzilla and about the creator of Godzilla, who is a extremely progressive for his time Buddhist filmmaker. But like, it is. And
Sugiyama also did the music for Godzilla vs. Biollante.
Oh, and Ifukube hated that.
It was so bad. One of their previous composers came out of retirement. But go on.
But anyway, so the point is like, the thing is like when I talk about a creator like Ishiro Honda and Ishiro Honda like acknowledging the existence of war crimes, like recognize that that's weird that sort of thing gets recognized, right? Like it's not too unlike, as I kind of made this point to somebody earlier, I don't remember exactly who. It's like white people in the United States growing up and thinking that racism ended with Martin Luther King Jr. Because that's kind of what I was taught.
Racism ended with slavery after slavery.
But that's because that's what we're fucking taught in our schools. And you're supposed to be better than the way your society programs you to be wrong. But like, that is a problem with Japanese culture. Japanese culture is extremely conservative and arguably far more conservative than American culture is when it comes to the rights of LGBTQ people. Like, Sugiyama's a shitty person, and I think
he was a shitty person.
Well, ain't that the truth? The point is less that, like, Sugiyama was not uniquely shitty. These are evils that are, and attitudes that are surprisingly common. You know, I hope there's not any Hideaki Anno fans in the audience if we're going to talk about, you know, big Japanese imperialism and denying war crimes, because
So like here's really the crux of the conversation. Like, we can sit here like we know that, like, we've all established that Sugiyama's a terrible fucking
right.
Again, he was
kind of not up for debate.
Person. What I have seen a lot of discussion about today was because, like, what I woke up to this news, right? Like, I woke up and I looked at my phone and I saw that Sugiyama was dead. I was like, oh boy, the discourse is coming. And a lot of people were saying, how dare you people say these things about Sugiyama that are true because he's dead. And it's like, he made amazing Dragon Quest music, and it's like, okay, but he also denied the humanity of an entire subgroup of people.
Well, even if you're a right-wing chud, he also held Dragon Quest music back past a certain point. So
right, yeah, like so this is where we get into the broader conversation of terrible people who create wonderful things. Can we separate them from their creation? Should we separate them?
People love Halo, but Marty O'Donnell's a shithead.
Marty, like,
No.
No, CJ, go ahead.
Say no.
I want to hear this.
Straight up, no, we shouldn't. 100%, we shouldn't separate, because
You can't.
a lot of art is a reflection of the artist, right?
Yeah.
You can't tell me you watch Manhattan and think, yeah, Woody Allen's fucked up, but this movie's great. No, mother, it's about a dude who's fucking a 17-year-old. Of course, it's the exact same. It's a reflection of who made it, right? There's no way you can separate it. There is no ethical way you can separate the art and the artist. You have to tell yourself, no, this person made something terrible. I'm gonna watch it regardless of what it is. You know what I'm saying? You have to acknowledge it. There's no moral way to separate it, in my opinion. The Marty O'Donnell stuff, it's weird. Because I draw very rigid lines, right? If you're a like sex pest / murderer, I'm not gonna like interact with your stuff. If you have shitty politics, that's a different story, because then again, most of our heroes have shitty politics, right? Or most of the artists we interact with have shitty politics. In the case of this guy, the Dragon Quest composer, he took that to like an extreme that is like, I don't think you can justify. The Marty O'Donnell thing, I think he's just a dumbass. I don't.
Sorry, I was gonna. Go ahead, John.
No, Jeff, go ahead.
I just wanted to weigh in because I think it kind of builds off what CJ was saying. I don't know. This is like, we fucking talked about this, and I don't want to say, like, I don't know. I don't want to speak for people. I don't want to tell people what to do. My personal belief is that to a degree, I think you can separate an art from, I don't want to say the artist, but people involved with the production of this work, especially in something like media or like video games or movies, because to me, it's, I don't know if anyone's, how many people have watched The Good Place, but I think about this a lot. I've talked about this with my therapist, where it's like, if you go down the rabbit hole of like not buying, not watching anything that anyone shitty was involved with, like, it's really fucking hard, because there's like, just based on percentages, if you say 5% of the population are just really fucking shitty people, and that's probably a low ball in some areas of the world. There's probably bad. So I think, my personal opinion is I kind of make the call based on what degree is that those views going to be, present in the work. So something like a movie, like a set designer, if they're like super racist, okay, well, like, but that brick wall they built, it's like probably not going to come into play that much as something like the actual scriptwriter or something like that. And I think in the case of Dragon Quest, I'm not a musician, so I don't know how much of those might come out of the music, but to me, it's a little bit easier to kind of like, and maybe play a Dragon Quest game and not even enjoy it guilt-free, but like
I mean, look, you can mute Dragon Quest, you can mute Skyrim because Jeremy Soul's a fucking piece of shit.
Jeremy Soul's a huge turd.
Would you be able to fucking watch a Kevin Spacey thing now? Like, I sure fucking wouldn't.
I think also there's a difference between something that is wholly or heavily can be attributed to a single person versus something that was made so where they were but one of many parts, right?
Yeah,
Marty O'Donnell can be a shithead, but like he composed the music and the music is not screaming like obscenities and like right-wing talking points at you.
So
right?
Derek makes a fucking very important point
J.K.
here.
Rowling is Harry Potter, so you can't interface with Harry Potter in any way without that having some reflection on J.K. Rowling. So Sugiyama's one part of Dragon Quest, but Kanye's all a Kanye. You know what I mean?
Let's take what you just said and apply it to the realm of games. Who here knows the name Doug TenNapel?
Oh God, fuck
no!
Yeah,
we're not getting into him.
I don't know who that is. I don't want to know.
Doug
created
TenNapel,
Earthworm Jim.
He created Earthworm. Well, hold on.
Yeah, man, fuck that dude.
Yeah,
man,
he created.
Play Earthworm Jim.
Just because I hate Earthworm Jim.
He created Earthworm Jim. Now, when I was a teenager, I loved Earthworm Jim. I thought it was the fucking best thing ever. Because at the time, Twitter didn't fucking exist. The internet barely fucking existed, and I didn't know who the fuck Doug TenNapel was.
And no one knew what John's opinions were really like.
Exactly. Now everybody knows, and everybody's fucking enlightened because of it. But once I learned the truth about who Doug TenNapel is, who if you don't know, he's a fucking massive Christian nationalist and a super homophobe. He's anti anything that isn't straight white male, essentially. Misogyny, like he hits every fucking tick on the shitometer, right? I never had I thought Earthworm Jim was great. I thought it was a fun game. I never had like a super close attachment to that game as a kid. So when I learned who Doug TenNapel was, it was no longer I no longer considered it acceptable for me to play or enjoy Earthworm Jim because I knew who had created it. And the reason I bring him up is twofold. One is hearkening back to what Derek just said. Like, right, Sugiyama was shitty, but he was just one gear in a much larger machine, right? So I love Dragon Quest. Now I knew about Sugiyama, and I still love Dragon Quest, and I love Dragon Quest because as shitty as Sugiyama was, I mean, like CJ said, I could I could fucking turn the music down. He was an overrated composer anyway. Dragon Quest music has never been its fucking strong point. But Dragon Quest was more than just Sugiyama, right? So I could look past it. I'm okay with enjoying Dragon Quest. With somebody like Doug TenNapel, who is the sole creator of Earthworm Jim, I no longer consider it acceptable for me to go back and play Earthworm Jim because I'm just But at the same time, this is the question I pose to you guys. When you do have a huge connection to something, like for example, for me, like Final Fantasy VI, like let's say we learned that Hironobu Sakaguchi was a huge piece of shit tomorrow. Now that I've said it, we'll fucking find out. But he's not. But let's say we learn that. I will not sit here and tell you that I can't play Final Fantasy VI anymore because it literally saved my life as a teenager.
We all have problematic faves.
Like
CJ was saying, you just got to acknowledge that the shit's problematic.
I love Kanye, like you just mentioned, Derek. Yeah. Like, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, on that topic, it's not video game related, but I struggle with this. I don't want to, I don't want to get into the J.K. Rowling discourse. Like, obviously, she's a piece of shit and stuff, but Harry Potter was a big, a major formative part of my youth, and I'm still struggling with, obviously, I'm not doing my part not to give her any more money, promote her any more fame, but I'm still struggling with my relationship with that series. But another big one was like Joss Whedon's work, like Buffy.
Yeah. That's something else.
And like deeper, like its themes, but he fucking wrote and created those characters, and he's so personally tied into that just hearing what a piece of shit he is fucked me up so bad. And I still think there's value in those works, and obviously other actors and writers brought those characters to life. So it wasn't but it's like I still don't have an answer for how I feel about it. It's fucking hard and it's a struggle, but I think it's just important to at least not just say, oh, this is good, it's fine, it doesn't matter. I think it's important to at least challenge ourselves and have those thoughts and discussions. And I think it's okay, and you don't need to feel bad about being conflicted as long as you're being honest with yourself and not ignoring the truth of what these people did and who they were, and at least confronting that in some way.
I think for me, the thing is, because especially like when it comes to like movies and stuff, there's plenty of people that I regularly consume the stuff of, that even if it may not be public or something, like I know there is a high likelihood of like being made by shitty people, even outside of just like what's public knowledge and what isn't. And I think the key thing is that you have to be able to be open to somebody being upset about those things, being upset about what those people say, be upset about what people did. Don't just try to deflect it or try to pull the let people enjoy things. I know I've said this before, but I think like boycotts and just not engaging with certain things is a very personal decision, and I respect people's decisions either way on a lot of that stuff. But I think
should not be used as like a way to signal that like you are in the correct in group. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right? Yeah,
and you can't judge people's individual morality based on whether they are or not participating in a boycott.
Correct.
Like that's not the way that's supposed to work.
I know people who still play World of Warcraft, who are wonderful people who are who find the Activision Blizzard shit abhorrent, but World of Warcraft also like fucking introduced them to their spouse. And
I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm probably getting Diablo 4. I'm gonna break, and you know what?
Oh yeah, like Justin and I talked about all the time.
Oh yeah, I was literally just gonna say the same thing.
I'm gonna do it with a heavy heart, but
look, if next year's Call of Duty shows us the fucking Infinity Ward logo, you think I'm not gonna jump on that shit and play? No, are you or fucking Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 remake? Are you kidding me?
yeah, that's the one.
Are you kidding me? No, but a point like what Justin was saying, it's so easy for me to drop whatever, right? If you read my best of 2017 list of my favorite albums of that year back in college, I listed Ryan Adams' Prisoners, like my favorite album that year. Now Ryan Adams is a piece of shit who abused like Mandy Moore.
He was fucking terrible.
Yeah. No, I used to love Ryan Adams too.
My wife was a huge Ryan Adams fan, and like being a woman, it's even worse for her. So like it's something she really struggles with.
So it's hard to go back to that. I'll drop that. I don't listen to Ryan Adams. I don't listen to I have a bunch of these artists. I don't watch any Woody Allen, Roman Polanski, fucking Errol Flynn, fucking John Landis movie. I don't want that easy. Video games are weird, like you said. Again, the gear in one big machine. But the one that really got me, and the one that I kind of thought, all right, well, I guess I'm done, was during the whole Ubisoft thing. A lot of those games aren't auteur driven. They're not very director driven. You know what I'm saying? They don't have a Hideo Kojima. They don't have an Ed Boon. They don't have an Amy Hemming, with the exception of one very important one, which is Michel Ancel.
Yes.
As you guys remember, a lot of things came up that nothing truly disgusting or horrible, but it was like he was kind of a shitty boss, and he kind of like overworked his employees. He was kind of abusive in nothing to the extremes of all the other guys at Ubisoft that, again, are still, most of them are still there, but to the point where I'm like, I don't think I can play Rayman Legends anymore, because that is a Michel Ancel game. That's not a Ubisoft game. That's like, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
No, finish it, please. Sorry.
It's a Michel Ancel game. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a genuine. All these other Ubisoft games I play, whatever. They feel like they're fucking mass produced in a factory, because they probably are. So it's really hard to pinpoint who did what, and to really kind of point a finger like, all right, if I play this, I don't think it's as morally wrong because I'm not supporting one individual, right? The whole discussion about Ubisoft as a whole is a whole other thing. But with Rayman and then like whenever Beyond Good and Evil 2 comes out, it's a lot harder, because that is a director driven game. That it's one person who had a vision and he kind of like guided all that, right? So that's like the one thing for me. It's like, all right, well, this is hard.
Yeah, and like the last thing I'll say on the topic, I guess, because I think it relates to what you were saying, CJ. I was going to bring up Ubisoft into what Derek talked. We talked about boycotts. Like, I made a tweet the other day. Like, I'm just not and I mentioned it, I think, earlier in the podcast, I'm just not playing Ubisoft games now. I'm not covering them. I don't want to discuss them because it feels weird. If I discuss them, like, let's be real, I like Ubisoft games, and it would feel
And I
weird
was
to
gonna say, Jeff,
be
like,
talking
real quick. I know how fucking difficult this has been for you.
Yeah,
personally.
and like it would be weird for me to talk about enjoying and being excited for liking these things at the same time, like saying, "Oh, I'm not buying." Like, so it's just a weird thing I don't want to cross. But I was very clear, like when I tweeted about this, like I'm not boycotting them because to me, and I'm not judging anyone who boycotts. I do think sometimes boycotts work, but personally, to me, I don't really do boycotts because I don't think those are the most effective way that I can make a difference. I don't think especially with some of these big mainstream video games and stuff like that, I don't think my not buying it makes a big difference. And if I'm going to boycott something, it's not going to be to like make us, to get in with a group or something, or to like receive people's validation or approval. Like, hey, he's a good guy. Like, that's not why I'm going to boycott something. The reason I'm going to boycott something is if I think that there's a real chance that my money or my attention not going to this will make a functional difference on the problems that I'm concerned about. And I just generally don't believe that. I believe, especially in the case of video games, that more often than not, it's going to hurt the people who don't deserve it, and the people who do deserve it are not going to be touched. But I certainly don't judge anyone who does feel that that's the only power they have is to vote with their wallet. So, I think to me, like when you talk about like how do we separate people or how do we make a difference or how do we approach things created by problematic people, I just look at it on case by case basis and say, with who I am and what I do and the reach that I have and the power, the tools at my disposal, what way can I make the biggest difference? And quite often for me, it's not necessarily not playing it. Maybe it's playing it and talking about the problematic stuff and bringing awareness to that on SDGC. Or maybe it straight up is just saying this isn't worth my time and energy because every fiber of it was created by a piece of shit. Or maybe it's a mix of both. So I don't know. It's hard for me to come up with a broad answer, but that's my take on that.
And kind of just building off what you're saying, Jeff, like I know for me, there are some people that I know, like especially with like some movie directors, I know they're fucking pain in the ass to work with, and have been shitty to people, and I'll still be there to see their movies all the time. Like I know that's a thing, like with me, and I've made peace with it, but I also just I won't deny issues when people bring them up. But I think for me, like especially with like you mentioned Ubisoft, and I'll also throw in CD Projekt Red and like Activision Blizzard and stuff. Sometimes just when I hear some of these stories, it just doesn't feel good buying these things. Like it's not like with Ubisoft, initially I was kind of just doing the whole boycott thing. Now it's just more of I haven't bought any of their games in a couple of years and I'm not super excited about them. Like I'm just gonna keep this going. Like it kind of just nurtured like a growing apathy. But like CJ mentioned with the Activision Blizzard stuff, right now I'm not buying any Activision Blizzard stuff, but like that was easy for me to do this year, whereas next year it's not going to be. And it's I don't know. I think for me, the personal line is like, I'm not going to shout down on people that are calling out these issues. I'm still going to talk about those same issues while also talking about my experience with these things. And it's just, it's tough talking about this with Sugiyama because I've never actually played a Dragon Quest game. They're good. Like, it's just, it's impossible for me to actually articulate where this line lies for me because it's such a personal, like, ephemeral feeling.
So I think that's what we're all saying. It's just so hard to define what that line is and say broadly, this is how you deal with these. It varies so much with the context of who.
And I am going to say though, like when CJ mentioned it's easy for him to drop certain things, I kind of envy that, like, because especially I know for me with games, because games are so experiential and like because the pandemic has still been such an ongoing thing, like it's kind of like the one thing that I can't go to the movie theaters and I have trouble focusing on movies when I'm watching them at home, which was like film was one of my major hobbies and it's just basically been gone for the past 2 years. So like for me, like just straight up dropping certain things is very difficult. And I really do envy people that are able to do that.
It's easy for me to say, like, I'm not going to buy a Ubisoft game. Yeah, because I get them for review. It's like, I'm not supporting it, and I could still. That's the thing. And again, it may sound disingenuous for me to say, yeah, I will never buy a Ubisoft game when I'm getting the codes. But at the same time, it's like I'm doing the right thing by discussing it, right? Like I'm honest about it. Every review, every Ubisoft game I've reviewed, like within the first paragraph of my Assassin's Creed Valhalla review, first thing I mentioned was, oh yeah, this fucking Ubisoft is dealing with a lot of shit. First 2 paragraphs of my Far Cry 6 review, hey, look, Ubisoft, they're fucking harboring a bunch of fucking serial abusers, and I don't think anything's going to change. When Riders Republic comes out and I get that code, same thing. It's that whole thing. So I don't envy me because, again, it's sort of easy for me to, talk.
Well, I mean, but that's kind of the other end is like you're using a platform that you have to be able to talk about these issues and elevate those issues while also I have this show and like Twitter and stuff, but like I don't have the same kind of platform as like actually writing that kind of a review and stuff. So like I respect that as well. I mean, there's no one size fits all answer for anybody.
Yeah. This isn't like you're not supposed to be weighing your goods and your evils on a scale to determine when you've hit the right balance that you're allowed to legally enjoy a problematic thing. Like, that's not really how this is supposed to work. Like, just the enemy here is not engaging with media that may have problematic elements or problematic people behind it. The enemy is in people denying or ignoring that those things exist.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just know that some things are bad. And if you enjoy a thing and somebody points out that, okay, well, the writer of this is a huge piece of shit and they used some elements of this game to portray like a veiled anti-LGBT message or something, then you kind of go, damn, that fucking sucks, right? Like, you don't go, that's not true, this game's not anti-whatever. Like, you go, I enjoy this thing for all these reasons, but I also see where this part is bad. But like, acknowledging that in this hypothetical scenario that there are, veiled anti-queer themes in a story that you didn't catch on to, acknowledging that doesn't suddenly mean you've been half hypnotized into being a homophobe. Like, it's okay. You can acknowledge that a thing is bad or has bad elements in it and disagree with those elements and simply focus more on the parts you like. But at least you did that instead of being these fucking eggs on Twitter who go, no, it's not true.
Derek, you described being a Family Guy fan perfectly.
Oh, God.
I mean, what you're saying, Derek, it just comes back to like people tying their identity to media or products, and it's okay to like things, but like, if you don't, if you don't include that as part of your personality, it's easier to criticize the thing without feeling like you're criticizing yourself or being attacked.
No. Perfect case in point. Peter Coffin's a huge piece of shit, but that doesn't mean that those videos on cultivated identity didn't like perfectly fucking explain the way people act with media, So didn't realize it would tie back quite that quickly to the creator, but ta-da. So yeah, just acknowledge like shit can be part bad. People can be bad, and you can still enjoy shit.
And also work. Here's my other thing that I'm gonna say. I think you should also try to highlight and support work that you think does a good job of kind of counteracting some of these elements as well. I think that is some of the most good that you can do. I think trying to raise up and promote some of those things as well. I'm trying to phrase it, but I think the easiest way, it kind of does clean your conscience, but it also like knows that, like say, there's several indie studios that are focusing on being like worker co-ops that are focused on nice like having like good work hours, stuff like that. Like try to promote and talk about that stuff as well too. If and I'm not saying you have to like go out of your way to find this stuff, but like if you find something that moves you that is actually made by good people that are trying to do the right thing, that espouses themes that you think are important, that it was made in a way that you think is good, try to talk about that too, because I think that's a very positive way to try to get others on board. And there's a domino effect with things like that. And I think trying to raise up good things is sometimes going to be more productive than just trying to take down big bad things.
Yeah. Just remember, you're doing that because you should be doing that, and you're not doing that because it will cleanse your soul from
or
the
give
sin
you
of,
what does it give you, like good like brownie points or something, like
yeah,
kudos.
in order to allow yourself to engage with the problematic thing. Like,
Oh yeah, no, I
yeah.
didn't mean it like that, but like I'm just saying, like, if you can do something like that, I think
you just should in general.
I think you should, because I think that's a healthy way of engaging with a lot of stuff, especially if you are deep into certain hobbies, like a lot of us are.
Yeah.
Derek, we got like 20 minutes left. Do you want to bring us into our last topic? I think this is a little bit
I certainly
happier
can.
and should be more fun.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad. I don't know where John went.
He said all his shit died. Sorry, he posted that in the chat.
I missed that because me and him are both
just a few
typing
minutes
from
ago,
SDGC. So
rest in peace to John.
yeah, love you, John.
Oh, don't say that. Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, yeah, like, come on. Like, we
Holy
fucking
shit.
joked about.
Holy shit.
Yeah, John fucking died.
Guys, I'm drunk. I can't take jokes right now. Please.
So we had one last topic for tonight, and it was not a super in-depth one, but there have been reports. The first one came from Video Game Chronicle, right? Have I got the outlet right? That Konami is reviving Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid, and Castlevania. Like we're coming back. We're doing these again. We're bringing the series back as something big. And a couple other outlets like I know Eurogamer and at least one other backed them up on this. That yes, there is work being done. Konami is now willing to outsource these franchises and this work to other studios to help get stuff done, because Konami really does not have internal development teams anymore capable of big AAA development. They can still license out. Good to see you back, John.
I'm back.
He undied. But it's possible to license
I knew fucking CJ was going to do that.
It's possible to license these franchises out to other studios. Like, the rumor has been going on forever that Bloober Team is doing Silent Hill, which may turn out to be true. I generally advise not looking too deeply into some of the hard details of rumors. Like,
that one specifically comes from Bloober. They have specifically kind of fanned that one.
Right. But
Eurogamer's also like, yeah, that's true, and VGC's like, yeah, that's true.
Sure, but like, there's also details that, for example, they're remastering the Metal Gear Solid games, but 3 is getting remade by X Studio, and I would be careful about counting on those details to be true. I think the thing to focus on is Konami is looking to bring back those 3 big franchises and get back into traditional AAA gaming. They're just gonna have to do it by outsourcing to other studios, which is fine. It's great. Guess what? Metroid Dread was outsourced to Mercury Steam. Like, you can do that. So,
and I think it relates nicely to our topic from the last show where we talked about like the Bloomberg and Nintendo reports and like, how do we know what to trust and what to believe and stuff like that. And I think, VGC and Eurogamer are very credible outlets that seem to be pretty reliable, but like you said, Derek, I think like, look at the big picture and not the small stuff. Like, it's most likely that this is true, that these franchises are coming back and Konami's doing work on them. But like, the specifics of who's working on what, that could even change. Someone might have been working on something and they might have got pulled from it and handed over. We know like Final Fantasy 7 remake switch development studio, like, so don't, like, that information might have been true at some point. It could change. It could be wires crossed. Don't get hung up on the specifics. But like, the important thing is that like they do seem to be looking to bring back and actually, get games made from these franchises.
It can't be true both that Bloober Team is making Silent Hill and that Kojima is making Silent Hill. And both of those rumors are flying around. They literally can't both be true, y'all.
Unless Kojima joined Bloober Team.
I actually love the idea of because I came back kind of like after this discussion had started. Regarding all the rumors about, Konami bringing on like indie teams indie devs to handle some of these franchises. I love the idea of that with Castlevania. I fucking love it. Like, imagine, like, this won't happen, but imagine someone like Tom Happ, who made Axiom Verge and Axiom Verge 2, getting to work on fucking Castlevania, or the developers behind, Record of Lodoss War on PC, which is a great fucking Metroidvania, or the guys behind Hollow Knight. I mean, Cherry. Like, I mean, there are so many cool opportunities here for smaller devs to step up and take on a big, well-known franchise like Castlevania.
You know what? I like the Lords of Shadows games, so I don't want us to necessarily constrain Castlevania to being the games Iga made and nothing else, because they were 2D action games before. There were 3D action games under Iga. Curse of Darkness was good. And at least
I like the first Lords of Shadow.
Yeah, and Lords of Shadow 1 was
play Metroidvanias. I 100% agree with you. Derek, man, give me another.
Make a Castlevania Souls-like, fucking whatever. I don't care.
I'm with you, TJ.
I mean, look at what they did. Look at what Mercury Steam did. Like, here's the thing: why can't we have both, right? Like, look at what Mercury Steam has done with Metroid. And then look at what Retro did with Metroid in regard. Like, everybody's like, oh no, Metroid can't be a first-person shooter, and the Prime games are some of the greatest games ever made. And Lords of Shadow 2 sucked ass, but Lords of Shadow 1
Lords of Shadow 2
great.
did not suck ass if you played Mirror of Fate.
It sucked ass.
No, if you played Mirror of Fate, it was
I'm gonna have to side with John here. I shouldn't have to do homework to make it one game.
I'm gonna agree with you. But if you did the homework, it was excellent.
Derek, I'm gonna be honest. I've never heard of Mirror of Fate before.
It was the 3DS Lords of Shadow game.
Ironically, it was Mercury Steam that did that.
Yes. Mercury Steam did all three of those.
Yeah.
Oh, did they do?
Mercury Steam made all three of them.
No shit. Okay, all right.
I didn't know there was a 3DS one, but yeah, they were Mercury Steam.
Great. But Lords of Shadow was fucking great. I loved Lords of Shadow.
But I think the point is, people like when Castlevania's been gone for so long, with Silent Hill gone for so long, Metal Gear being gone for so long, people are gonna fight over like what's the one true interpretation. And if there were a couple of Castlevania games coming out over a couple different years, you could have that variety, and people wouldn't feel so defensive about the one right way.
Someone in chat suggested Yacht Club games for Castlevania.
You know, for a retro style one, sure.
Yes. A regular, like a what is this? Castlevania 4.
Yeah.
That 100%. That's the only one I like. Bring it back.
Yeah.
That one Rondo.
Rondo's an amazing game. So, but of course, the rumor also covers Metal Gear Solid and Castlevania. And the Metal Gear Solid portion of this covers ports for 1, 2, 3,
God,
4.
I'd love to see what Metal Gear Solid looks like without Kojima. Not out of Kojima hate. That's not what's going on. I just think it would be buck fucking wild to see what other people do when they try.
No,
I'm more focused on this rumored Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, which I don't think needs to happen.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Because here's the thing:
in the Fox engine with MGS5's gameplay,
play like fucking poopy. I don't care. I only played 5. Yo,
fucking poopy, man.
I only played
poopy.
5. 5 is one of the greatest games ever made. I put 300 hours in that game before I finished it. No, man, bring them back. All 3 of the original PS2 games, remake them in the Fox engine, have them play exactly like Metal Gear Solid 5. Do the Resident Evil 2 remake thing where you kind of remix some things to kind of like throw people off.
Yeah, and then make it where 4 never happens.
4 is better than 5. Like, come on. Like,
shut the fuck up.
I mean,
what are you talking about?
It is, dude. Like, 5 isn't even finished.
I mean, I will say, regardless of how anyone here feels about 4, I don't want to get into that. I think 4 needs this the most. Like, 4 is the one that is the least accessible. It is so fucking hard to play Metal Gear Solid 4 right now.
Yeah. I will say that it is hard to play Metal Gear Solid 4 right now. So like, and I will say that like I remember like the cutscenes in that game were like Lord of the Rings fucking length feature films, and
there's a 2-hour-long cutscene.
It's an hour and 40 minutes, Derek.
Okay,
come on, Derek. This is so much better.
Here,
I'm glad Justin has that memorized.
We wouldn't get
I timed it.
We wouldn't get a Guns of the Patriot remaster. Here's my big brain theory: Konami releases a mini version of the PS3 just to play that game. It's a plug and play console. That's the only game I can play.
You mean like the NES Classic shit, but it's a PS3 and all it has on it is Metal Gear Solid 4?
And you still have to install it. You still have to do the loading.
The smoking loading screen.
It still has the snake smoking segment.
Okay, hold on.
But it's 2021, so he's
Metal Gear Solid games. We need to fucking talk about Metal Gear Rising. That game fucking rules.
Yeah, but Quentin Flynn's in it, and I don't want to play that.
We did just have this conversation.
He's a fucking creep. I don't care.
But Quentin Flynn is a piece of shit.
Go play
He's a piece of
5.
shit, but that game that's still
Devil May Cry
game.
5 has Ruben Langdon.
Oh, you're right.
Damn it!
Also, wait till
Why
you find out
can't
how
I have-
wait till you find out how many games are cutscenes are made using Ruben Langdon's mocap studio.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
a lot.
Don't
Go play a
like
game,
that.
man. Read a fucking book once in a while.
So,
Fuck it.
so-
go ahead, Justin.
So I have spoken at length about what I think about Konami.
That's Frogger.
I actually kind of hope the rumors about like ports and stuff for Metal Gear are true.
I think those
true.
are probably true.
I think it's easy to bring them back, and like I think they have a good base to build off of them. Actually, the MGS3 remake cutscenes are done because they were all redone for a pachinko machine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that would be a lot less work for that team. I think those are reasonable things to expect. I am wary. I want to get excited for this stuff. I really do. I really am passionate about a lot of these series, and I really want them to come back in some way. I just really hope they find good partner studios to work with on them that actually really get it. And I also hope that Konami gives these studios the free reign to make the games the way they need to be,
get out of
because
their own way.
because Konami has proven time and time again, and this isn't even a new thing. This was back even when they were regularly releasing games. Like, they have a lot of corporate interference that have held back certain games, that have caused issues in development. This is something that they have done for decades.
Silent Hill fans are really used to that.
Yeah. And like also their internal teams, the games that those have put out in the past few years, actually one last week that we talked about.
eFootball's a banger. I don't know what you're talking about.
And even that Contra game from a few years back.
Oh, I can't even
yeah.
jokingly defend that.
We don't talk about that Contra game.
Here's what's gonna happen. We're not gonna get anything. We're gonna get a fucking Fox Engine remake of Frogger. It's gonna suck, and that's all we're gonna get from Konami for like the next 5 years.
I'll tell you what. Like, talking about Konami, like, I actually just last week replayed Metal Gear Solid, and around this time is when we started hearing all the Konami stuff. And as I was playing it, I was like, man, some of the dialogue in this game just aged like just aged like a grilled cheese sandwich in a bowl of milk in the sun for 2 weeks. Like, and for example, when he's talking to Meryl for the first time, and Derek knows what I'm talking about, when his first conversation with Meryl, and she's like, "How could you tell I was a rookie? It was your eyes." And she's like, "Oh, because they're inexperienced? No, because they're beautiful, passionate, sexy." And I'm like, what?
That's a fucking great fucking line of dialogue. What the hell? More games that shit. You guys are hung up on the wrong things. No, the
Sexy.
gameplay sucks. The fucking dialogue's
Hey, dude,
held up.
I still really love the gameplay of Metal Gear Solid. Dude, like, that game
You
fucking
shouldn't,
holds up.
but that's okay.
I
game
feel like
fucking holds
that
up.
dialogue is intentional sometimes, because I just played Death Stranding, and you have a character like Die Hardman, whose real name is John McClane, saying shit like, "Sir, you pulled me from the fires of hell," or something like that, and the battlefield. He
I'm
mentions
not hearing any
battlefield like 5
negatives.
times. I know, like, it's. I think.
Yeah, no, I do think there's, especially with Metal Gear, I think there's stuff in there that's supposed to be jokes that I think a lot of people don't realize are supposed to be jokes, but that's another thing. I really like the idea of some of this stuff being brought back if they find the right studios and let them take the time that they need, because that's another thing. Konami could want to do these on a really quick turnaround, and that could also hurt things. I hope they give these teams the freedom that they need to really bring these franchises back, because I think there's a lot of potential there, and I think they could easily win back a whole lot of goodwill if they treat them well.
I hope people are willing to give them a chance to be good.
I sure as shit am.
I will.
Give me.
I want them. I want them to be good.
Suikoden collection, Konami.
I was
Jesus
gonna say
Christ.
That one's not happening, John.
Probably not. But
real quick, John, because I know you're gonna say. The only other thing I'll say is, I'm a patient person, and it's been a hot minute since we've gotten a new entry in any of these franchises. I am willing to take a few stinkers, because I don't think they're gonna come out of the gate, bring all these back, and I don't think they're gonna pull a Capcom. Where it's just smash hit after smash hit.
I don't think so either.
Capcom's
I'm
comeback
fine
was
with them taking some
miraculous.
time to, stumble. And to me, the most important thing is that these franchises that are really popular and people like are coming back in some form. I think that's a good first step to actually make games in the series. And hopefully, if they don't turn out good, they can figure out what went wrong and correct course and stuff like that. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm not gonna hang my hat and all my hopes on the first one of these to come out, because I don't know if it's realistic to expect it to be a game of the generation.
So there is, and I know we're pushing against our time here, but there is one more franchise to discuss when we talk about Konami Revival, and that, of course, is Silent Hill. I almost dread fucking bringing that name up at this point.
You didn't just say Bloody Roar, which
you didn't say,
seems wrong.
Rocket Knight Adventure. You know,
Yeah.
I would love, dude. Bloody Roar is sitting on my Vita, and Derek, you and I are playing that shit.
Aiding's not
just for
doing
funsies.
anything right now.
Like, Derek, you understand that you and I are playing Bloody Roar when you get
Which
here on
one?
That Wednesday, right? We can do one or two. I got both.
Oh no, Primal Fury, dude. Primal Fury on GameCube. That's what's up.
I can download. Well, what I mean is I can secure a copy of Primal Fury.
yeah.
But
oh shit, Doug Bowser's in chat.
but no,
They're already monitoring me.
I feel like there has been so much smoke around that Silent Hill fire that there's got to be something there. Whether it's ports of, Silent Hills 1 through 3, or maybe do a port of Origin, because that's actually, Silent Hill Origin is a great fucking game that's locked on PS Vita or PSP. Although, didn't it get like a PS3 release as well? Am I remembering that wrong?
The Shattered Memories was good too.
Shattered Memories was good.
That was on the Wii.
That was a Wii game and a PSP game. It was on the PSP too.
You know what they could do? I'm not even fucking around. Like, I'm okay. Serious time. They could do what Sega did with Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, where it was a Wii game, probably the easiest to port to a modern console, test the waters, do the full-blown 1, 2, 3 remakes that we all want, right?
I thought you were going to say, CJ, I'm not going to lie. I thought you were going to say they could do what Super Monkey Ball did and just put Pyramid Head in a ball.
Pyramid Head in a ball.
And that's where I thought CJ was going as well. Yeah.
No, okay.
Roll him around a little bit.
I have actual ideas, all right? I don't just talk about fucking monkey.
Super
But in
Silent
this case,
Hill
that
ball.
was your idea.
That was my idea.
I don't know. In all honesty, and I'll ask this to the group, do we expect to see anything on a Silent Hill from Konami next year?
No, I think
don't
it's
know
going to
when.
be a bit. We might see announcements next year, but none of this is going to be that. Maybe Silent Hill, because it sounds like that might have been the first of these to get rolling if the stuff with Bloober Team pans out. But even so,
Also, Bloober tends to work quick.
yeah.
For better and for worse.
Well, didn't rumors say that we'd see Castlevania first, though?
No, because I don't think Castlevania started nearly as it's all of the smoke has been around Silent Hill specifically, and if anything is going to pan out based on what we've heard, I just think Silent Hill is the furthest in development.
And Castlevania's been having a pretty good couple of years. We got these ports and everything. I think people are satisfied with that, right?
And the show.
Yeah. And dude, what's that other game, the Kickstarted one that's really popular too?
Bloodstained.
People have Castlevania.
We have Castlevania at home.
Dude, make a Castlevania game based around the Netflix series. Like
that isn't a Metroidvania. That's good.
I don't it's
called Castlevania
First
3.
Person shooter Castlevania.
I guess remake Castlevania 3 and follow the lines of the Netflix show. That would be fucking awesome, because that show was great. But yeah, so we are past our time here, so it is time to wrap this up. We had a nice busy chat tonight. Appreciate everyone hopping in and hanging out with us. A lot of heavy topics. Well, one heavy topic tonight, one lighthearted topic. So and I perfectly balanced, as Thanos would say. We will let you know. Again, Derek is going to be streaming Metroid Dread. I almost said Metroid Prime. Metroid Dread tomorrow. Derek, are you streaming it on SDGC or on your personal channel?
On SDGC.
On SDGC.
It'll
okay.
be for us.
Okay, cool. And we will let you know what time that is going to be. Again, Extra Life coming up real fast. It's going to be a fucking. We're going to have so much fucking fun. It's going to be great, guys.
A time,
it is,
y'all.
It's going to be so much fun. I wish we could have. I wish we could have the whole team there, but I'm just glad we can get some of us together, because it's been way too fucking long. Those who are not there will be missed. Of course, this will be your first opportunity to pick up some SDGC merch, specifically t-shirts and whiskey glasses. Now the whiskey glasses, again, like I said last week, are going to be limited in quantity. So, hop on though. If you're a whiskey drinker or you just want a cool whiskey glass with a big D-pad on it,
you can absolutely drink milk out of those.
You could drink whatever you want out of it.
Monster Energy, straight.
Drink a fucking pound of fucking
can.
G Fuel out of it. And speaking of G Fuel, apparently Derek says I'm pounding G Fuel.
I'm bringing G Fuel. That's how we're gonna stay awake. I'm bringing the G Fuel.
And we're gonna come up with some tiers.
I got pineapple. I've got raspberry lemonade. I've got orange and coconut.
Derek, I'm gonna warn you. I've never had a G Fuel.
Yeah, you're gonna like it.
I'm sure.
It'd be like introducing a hot Cheeto to a Victorian child.
Yeah, you and Justin and Britt, you're all gonna love it.
I'm just gonna love having you guys here.
Yeah.
Did anybody have anything they wanted to share with anybody, with the audience before we kind of log off here? I'll take that as a no. Okay. Everybody enjoy Metroid Dread in exactly 1 hour and 24 minutes. I'm going to do my hardest to wait till tomorrow when I get my Switch OLED, but now that we're getting close to the magic hour, I'm like, fuck, like maybe I could just stay up and play it for 10 minutes just to see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, everybody, please take care of yourselves. Thank you again for this lovely, busy chat we had tonight. And as always, kindness costs nothing. We'll see you next week.